So now we're going to talk about this next subject, which is we're going over the other side of the world now to the UK. And we're going to Blackpool, of all places, Cleveleys Beach, I think it's called. Let me put some windows down. And then Thornton Cleveleys in Blackpool. Let's have a look where it is. Anyone from the UK will know Blackpool, I would imagine. Blackpool is a famous sort of holiday destination in the UK, in the north. Bye, Tracy. Let's have a look at this. So Thornton Cleveleys is in the north, and this is the Thornton Cleveleys Beach, apparently. Where's Blackpool? So here's Blackpool. Let's look in the context of where we are in the UK. Yeah, you can see it's in the north, not far from Liverpool, Manchester, etc. When I lived in Manchester when I was young, we used to often go to Blackpool for the weekend. It was about an hour's drive. It wasn't far. Or you get the train. We'd get the train there. So here's the coast, and it was found, apparently, these remains, these human remains, this body was found somewhere around here. It's not far from Fleetwood, you can see. You may have heard of Fleetwood. I remember going to Fleetwood when I was a kid, because that's where they do a lot of crabbing, isn't it? Is it Fleetwood? And I do have a very strong memory of being on the jetty, and there were just all these massive crabs everywhere. It's like really, it's like stuck with me. God knows how old I was. But yeah, quite often used to go to Blackpool or Southport with my parents. That's where we would go for a day out. You get a coach or a train. Easy to get to from Manchester. And of course the Pleasure Beach, Blackpool Pleasure Beach, with all the rides, etc. and stuff. We were talking about that last week. Apparently it's really expensive now. It wouldn't have been that expensive then, because my parents wouldn't have been able to afford to take me if it was. So that's where we are. So who is this person who's been found? Now, we don't know yet, do we? Let's have a look at the actual article. An article somewhere. So this is the Manchester Evening News. Police update as the skeleton found on the beach is confirmed to be human remains. So it's definitely a person. But we don't, as far as I know, we don't know, up to making this video, we don't know who it is, if it's a man, a woman, a young person, an older person. We just don't know the details. We just know it's definitely a person. It's not animal remains. So apparently a group of teenagers made the grim discovery, and this is the beach where it was found. I mean, obviously it's not a current picture, because I expect it's a busier beach at the moment during the holiday, during the holidays, summer holidays. Don't you think a beach is a funny place to bury a body? Because beaches do change, don't they? If there's a big storm, things get washed up, sand gets, what's the word? Gosh, some of the beaches here after a storm, they're unrecognizable from what they were before the storm. So, yeah, it's taking a chance, isn't it, to bury a body on a beach, I would say. Are they going to come up with... Are they going to end up saying there's no suspicious circumstances? You know what it's like. They're like, oh, no suspicious circumstances in the end. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. So, police have launched an investigation after a group of teenagers discovered skeletal human remains on a beach in the UK. Officers were called to Thornton Cleveleys in Blackpool just before 1:15 on Thursday to reports of skeletal remains in the sand. And Lancashire police confirmed on Friday that the remains are human. And they say they're trying to identify the person as well as the cause of death. Now, of course, it is possible that it's, an immigrant or someone. You know, people are always washing it into shore, aren't they? They've fallen off these migrant boats or whatever. Now, this is interesting. So the force also urged, whoops, where is it? Where's it gone? I hate it when it jumps like this. The force also urged anyone who filmed video footage on their mobile phones at the scene to avoid sharing the footage online. Yeah, so you can bet if a load of teenagers found this body, there'll be videos all over the place. Pictures of the scene sent to Lancs Live show police standing guard next to the remains, alongside forensic officers in white suits. Now, it could be, as I say, someone who drowned. It may not be suspicious circumstances. But a skeleton, have they been washed up from the sea? Seems funny to me for someone to bury someone on a beach. We received a report of a skeleton being found on the beach in Thornton Cleveleys shortly before 1:15 on August the 7th. The remains have been confirmed to be human, and inquiries are ongoing to identify the deceased and find out how they died. Gosh, just, you know, secrets come up, don't they, from the sea? The sea does give up its secrets quite often eventually, doesn't it? We know that this attracted quite a bit of attention in the local area yesterday, and we want to thank the teenagers who reported this to us for their assistance. Could you imagine finding a skeleton on the beach? Oh my God. And to the members of the public for their patience while our officers carried out their duties. However, there were a number of people at the scene attempting to film. I mean, that's modern life now, isn't it? We want to use this time to remind you that there are real people affected by this, and ask that you please consider and respect that and avoid sharing footage online. Yeah, because, you know, at the end of the day, that could be our family, couldn't it? Could be a member of your family, my family. You know, a matter of respect. It shouldn't be shared online, should it? Could be one of their families, the people that are recording it. I mean, just don't know. Any missing person in that area now, really, it could be, isn't it? So that's basically all we know about that. But a lot of, there is, obviously, you can't stop online speculation, unfortunately. People are speculating about this girl. So this is a very famous case, Charlene Downs. And this is the girl that went missing in Blackpool quite a long time ago now, and has never been found. And it's thought that she was part of a grooming gang, wasn't she? You know, she was groomed by the guys that owned a kebab shop, and then they were actually prosecuted for a murder. There was talk that they'd been boasting that they'd, you know, ground her up and put her in the kebabs, etc. You know, it's awful. It's an awful. I have done a video about Charlene. It's on my channel somewhere. This poor girl, I think she was 15, was she? And yeah, this is the last CCTV. You know, I don't think this person that's with Charlene here has ever been identified. So her body was never found. This is her parents. Something happened to Charlene. You can see in this photo of Charlene, her eyes are dead, aren't they? There's something going on with Charlene there, possibly because she was being groomed. And who is this person? Oh, she was only 14. Who is this person here with her? Who is it? It's a very mysterious case. I might do an update on it soon, but this was in Blackpool. So that's why people are speculating about Charlene. But of course, we don't know even if it is a girl, you know, if it's a man, a woman, a girl or a young boy. Just don't know anything. It's just that it's a skeleton. Now, I think it's interesting that they say a skeleton. So it's not dismembered remains. It's... Well, they didn't say that anyway, did they? They didn't say that the body was in pieces. They said a skeleton. So presume that the body is all in one piece. Oh. Now, yeah, that's her, David. And, you know, it's horrible, really, isn't it? Because Charlene will always be thought of, won't she? Remembered as the girl that possibly was put in a kebab, and that's horrible, isn't it? And the other thing I wanted to say, not only about Charlene but about all these, you know, I try and stay away from these stories of grooming gangs and things, because, you know, there are lots of grooming gangs out there. They're not all Asian, but it is definitely a problem. But the other thing to me is, when your 14-year-old girl is that, you know, where do the parents think they are? You know, if your 14-year-old girl is out till, you know, God knows what time, and her personality looks to me like it changed completely. It's like 1 minute she was a little girl and then she's got these dead eyes like this. Why don't you know, I do think that a lot of children these days, they're just allowed to roam around at 14 years old, and they either get into trouble like drug culture, you know, the boys are getting to gangs and stuff like that, and then a lot of the girls get groomed by these grooming gangs, etc. I do think they're very easy targets because they don't get enough control. You know, how do, if it's true that these children are selling themselves for kebabs or cigarettes or alcohol at 14 or even younger, why have they not been taught to respect themselves more than think they're only worth a packet of cigarettes or a kebab? Do you know, like there's I'm not saying the grooming gangs don't need sorting out, of course they do, but I think there's a bigger picture here. You know, these what I would call feral children just roaming around the streets with no parental control whatsoever, doing what the hell they want, from 11 years old or, you know, even younger sometimes. And they are such easy prey for these vile predators. They're easy meat, aren't they? They literally are. Just waiting to be abused almost, you know, because, and these groomers, these paedophile gangs, be they Asian ones or any nationality, they hone in on children get honed in on when they've got no one to protect them. That's why it's quite often children from foster homes, isn't it? Sorry, not foster homes, from care homes, etc. That will get targeted because they haven't, you know, they don't feel like anybody cares about what they do anyway. So I think there's a wider picture here that children are, at the end of the day, children are easy victims if they haven't got self-respect. Nobody's wondering, you know, why are they out till 12 o'clock at night at the age of 13, 14? You know, what are they doing? Where are they going? You know, there is something in that. You know, it's not, I do think it's something that needs looking at personally. But anyway, that's just my opinion. I'll probably get into trouble for saying it, but to me, it's the truth. So we've got, we've just got to wait and see, basically, what happens here. We don't know that that's Charlene Downs or anything to do with Charlene Downs. It's just that Charlene Downs is someone who's missing there. She won't be the only one, but it's just something that people have mentioned because obviously a body gets found in Blackpool, a skeletal remains. So it's been there, you know, it's not a new death. it's bound to be something. But it does make me wonder if it's somebody who's been washed up on the shore, like, you know, a skeleton that's been washed up. Would somebody bury there, or have there been storms that have disrupted? I mean, you know, we don't know anything yet. It could be any of those things.